we have what we call the built environment, which we call the artificial environment. Some of us call it AI. This microphone is a part of the built environment, believe me or not. The projector as well, your laptop, your phone, is part of the what? Of the built environment. But does this go on to help us shape and better our environment? I would say yes and no, because at this moment, you're listening to me using this AI, right? And I am reaching out to the whole world through what? So in one way or another, it should be in that kind. The culture of we the humans, whereby we don't look at ourselves as being in the work environment. When you're in the work environment, that means you do, let's assume you're at work in the office. You'll make sure that every minute you spend it on the productivity of the work you're supposed to do as an individual, as an employee. Recently, we had a lot of upcomings which were related to GMO. Those of us who know where Kawanda is, I hope all of us know Kawanda. In the year, my friend here talked of the biodiversity bill which was launched here in 2017. It had a lot of issues within. I want to cite one simple example. In 2017-18, the Kawanda had an initiative. They called it the Impologoma banana. They produced Impologoma banana, and this was a banana which they assured us, in 1 year you're going to reap. But it was withering out in one season. In 1 year you're enjoying, but it was withering out in one what? In one season. For us in bioethics, we go ahead to ask ourselves, when we look at the instance of, we have what we call the gene therapy. Gene therapy. We are looking at the alteration of the genes of this kind of banana. So we are asking, is this safe for us? Is it safe for our environment? Is it safe for you, for your consumption? We're not questioning to say that it's bad, but for us as ethicists, we go on to ask, is it going to be good for you and for me? Some of us don't look at the biocentrism, whereby we say that life on earth is very precious. We care so much about the anthropocentrism. The anthropos is the man. The man is only caring about what is making him or her what? Happy. He's not caring about what is going to come after. Some of us don't look at the ecocentrism, the ecology you talked of, but we only look at how do I satisfy myself. There are some of the causes that I want to share also with my brother of the Baha'i, which for us cause a lot of ecological crisis. One is greediness, consumerism. When there is a lot of greed, that means you're going to be only thinking of yourself. Believe me or not, I am not happy personally. How come we have an instance that 2 months ago, I think so, people in Lubiji were being driven out. But then we ask ourselves, how did they come to settle there? If at all we knew it was a what? A swampy area or a wetland. That means somebody was doing something for their own ego, but not thinking of what? Of what comes out later on. Another cause of ecological crisis is our arrogance. Most of us are arrogant. Because you think you have the money, you want to do what you want to do. But at the end of the day, you forget that it's going to affect your grandchildren and grand. Because we are saying today, if at all, whatever action I'm doing, ask yourself, ask myself, is it going to leave the world, the earth, in a better position? There is a lot of individualism, the ego I've talked of. You only thinking of me and I and me and my nose and my stomach. That's what we are all thinking of. And then in the globalization of knowledge, we realize that a lot of integration is happening, but the culture, the ideologies, and the technology have to be brought to a synthesis. We have to be brought to the same path, the same kind of footing, to be able to realize what Jesus said. All creation is groaning. It is waiting for what? For salvation. All creation is groaning. Why is it groaning? It is groaning because of our own acts. St. Ignatius of Loyola says that we meet God in everything. Think of everything that you see is happening here in our world. I would wish to conclude by saying that you, me, you are a moral agent. That means you are an agent to improve this. I have to decide what is in the best interest of what? Of it. And that will serve all of us. As was also given to us by our, we call him environmentalist, Peter Singer. Those of you who have time, you can go ahead to read about Peter Singer. I wish to conclude by a few principles. One I already mentioned, which is called common good. But we should also look at subsidiarity. We should also look at solidarity. There is this thing we normally say, CSR. What is CSR? CSR, corporate social responsibility. So in one way or another, we request and we encourage all of us that at the end of the day, after doing all your work, see how do you give back? How are you back? How are you responsible? How are you giving back to the what? To the community. We see often companies doing such, but I would advocate, let's not only give these materials, but let's go ahead to do actions that bring the corporate social responsibility. I won't go into other things that were already mentioned, but I want to end with the 5 R's, which Laudato Si, Comboni Center, Uganda advocates for. The first R is called, let us refuse the bad acts that are deteriorating our what? Our universe, that are deteriorating our climate, that are deteriorating our environment. Then let's go ahead to the second R and reduce. After refusing, we do what? We reduce these acts. Let's reduce them. And then let's go to the third. When we reduce, then we start doing repairing. So we repair wherever we can, and we keep repairing. We keep repairing. And then second, lastly, we recycle. Many of us have been talking of recycling, and I won't go ahead. I can give a simple example with the Laudato Si Comboni Center. Of course, head office is at Mbuya. We have school girls and school boys who went ahead to use these plastic bottles to make pavers. Unfortunately, I tried to search the photos. They are quite far. I would share, but they made pavers from these buveras and these plastic bottles. After crushing them, they made pavers. And then lastly also, of course, after recycling, we will reuse it, isn't it? We will reuse what would have recycled. Thank you. I just wish to share a brief bioethical perspective. And when we shall have another meeting, maybe I'll delve deeply into some of those that I have highlighted. At this moment, unless there is any question burning, but if not, I'm going to invite our coordinator, our host, and animator at the same time. I call him Brother Nicholas to give us a word, and as we conclude, if there is no any other, do we allow 1 or 2, Brother Nicholas, for the interest of time?
Working with the Franciscan Missionary Sisters for Africa, we are having a recycling program, and since our sister, the youth initiative, our neighbors, we are working within in Zambia. So right now we're having a program of recycling, organic waste and we make briquettes. So we'll be happy when we work together with you to see that we improve more, because we want to improve more. Each and every day we want to do something else. So when we combine together, me and you, we can change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May we please have concluding remarks? Thank you for listening. I want to thank everybody for your time. I think I'm not going to come back to thank anybody. And I want to thank, I call him my brother, Nicholas, for this. And we know that we are few, but we are going to reach out to many, and we'll be able to do impact in our different capacities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charles, for taking us through all this day. And thank you, everyone. We invited actually many, but you are the chosen ones that are meant to be here. There are quite many religions, but because of one or the other thing, they failed to make. And being a weekday, we understand some of the circumstances can arise in offices. As I said, we had some politicians, actually some called me, were calling me that, are you still on? We come. They had the council, KCCA, they had the council today. They had forgotten that today they still had the council, so they couldn't make it. But they were with us in spirit. Actually, our councillor is the one that provided the tree that we planted. So we want to thank Baha'i Faith for making it and sharing with us your faith teaching. Thank you so much. And our regards to Mr. Oringa and Mrs. Oringa, the ones that have entrusted you. We want to thank our speakers, Hilary Belijusa. We come a long way with Hilary, and I think we began this stuff around 2016, 2014, I don't know, around there, yes. So thank you so much for making it from Jinja, all the way from Jinja today, and you came and shared with us. Thank you so much. Laudato Youth Initiative, we are so appreciative of your contribution. Sarah and Augustine, thank you so much for your input and insight that you've given us and sharing the practices that Laudato Youth Initiative is taking on. Thank you so much. And our regards also to brothers Aldolf and Father Berry, and also Mr. Alfred at John Paul II. We love you all so much. Our sister, she came in late, sister from Queen of Confessors. We are glad to have you, though you came late, but I think you picked. I'm very sure that we are not going back the same. We've learned a lot from the sharings that people have shared here. And the message I got from all is that change begins with us. Change begins with us. Once we begin to understand, to perceive, and to have that conscience of caring for creation, then the rest will flow bit by bit, and we'll find ourselves really making a change in the societies where we stay. We talked about interconnectedness. Our ecosystem where we live should be better. The better environment is a better life for us. So we also had to have our priests here with us. Unfortunately, today also